Hi, my name's Chris Little. I'm a felon. I committed a property crime, committed an arson. I burned down an abandoned shed in the woods. The shed was valued at $1,000. There was $500 content. For that, I was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Fortunately, the judge withheld 15 years, so I only had 5, otherwise I wouldn't be here today. My name's Dr. Christopher Whittle, not just Christopher Whittle. I have a bachelor's degree in earth science from the University of Massachusetts, a master's degree in education from Harvard University, a PhD in education from the University of New Mexico, and then after I was released, I got an associate's degree in criminal justice so I could understand what happened to me and why I was where I was. I got out of prison and I started looking for a job. I've been a teacher for 20 years, teacher and school principal. And in the state of Delaware, they have a law that says if you've committed arson, you can't work with children in the state of Delaware. So I didn't know that until I got a job with the Boys and Girls Club. I was going to run a Boys and Girls Club, and 3 days before that job started, they said, no, the Office of Child Care Licensing will not allow you to work with children. So then the next thing I wanted to do was work with intellectually disabled adults for a company called Chimes, $12 an hour. I was going to be a job coach, and Chimes told me that since my felony was only a few years old, wasn't old enough for me to work with them. Fortunately, I knew people that knew Adjutant George, and I applied to work at the farm, and here I am today.
Hi everybody, how you doing? That's wonderful. I'm pretty honored to be here today just to speak to you guys on behalf of Second Chances Farm. How I got there. Decisions, I guess wrong decisions. I made a wrong choice. That wrong choice led me to get a weapons charge. Previous to that, I had never had interaction with police. I never had a record. I did things, I just didn't get caught, basically. I think a lot of people can say that. But I'm glad it happened, because everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, especially in that case. At that time, I was married. I had 2 children, 3 stepchildren. And by the time the smoke cleared, I didn't have a marriage anymore. I was a housewife, so I wasn't working. My 2 biological children, they were kind of, separated a little bit. My family kind of took over for them for a little bit because they wanted to give me, how many years? I believe they wanted to give me 10 years. And then, this is without a record. And then they took it down to 5 years probation, still without a record, okay? Which was amazing to me. I knew nothing about the system at all. I went to go get a job, and where I had never had a problem finding a job at all, I couldn't get anything. It was either very labor intensive, or it just wasn't worth my time and all my effort and all my energy to work for $8, $7, like you can live off of that. It's not realistic. I look young, but I'm not that young. So that was really a problem for me. I actually came across Second Chances Farm because I was looking for it for my brother. He had spent about half his life in prison, and I was thinking when he got out, he's going to need something to do. I met with Miss Patty May, and her passion for the program, it excites you. And so when I listened to her, I was like, okay, this might be something for me. And I got excited about that. I kind of harassed her. COVID hit, so it kind of got delayed a little bit, but I stayed on top of it because I pretty much don't take no for an answer, and I'm better for it. Ajit is a great leader. He's not creating workers. He's is not creating just someone to have a job. I'm in it for the long haul because I believe in investing in myself. I don't really believe in being a slave to anybody. So, and the only way to do that is be self-sustained, you know, have your wealth together, have your money together, have investments. It's not my last stop, but it's definitely parachuting me forward, and I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity. I didn't expect to be here, but everything leading up to it is a great opportunity, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it.
The whole story about Second Chance Farms is unbelievable. I'm sure a lot in the room wasn't aware of what they do. Great job, Ajit. Now we're going to hear a little bit about the Gateway Reentry Program in Philadelphia, bringing up Tracy Fisher. Tracy, come on up, buddy.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here. I had a great time today. The weather held up. A little rain shook me for a minute. I said, "Hey, minute," but it held up. I don't even play golf. My brother does. But I like golf. I watch it on TV. Reentry is in everything you do. Whether you've been in jail or not is irrelevant because your son, your nephew, your daughter, somebody, your cousin, the neighbor next door. So you better understand what reentry really is. And I'm going to tell you why. Some of y'all have individuals coming home that was incarcerated. And you yourself never been incarcerated. So you have to get a mind frame on how to deal with them. And I give you an example. Let's say you and your wife go and adopt a baby. You have to child-proof that house before the agency come there and allow you to be able to have that child. There's certain classes you're going to have to take to understand parenthood and so forth and so on. That's the same thing with reentry. Successful reentry, you're looking at.
All right.
Look. I'm going to tell you on every level. Spiritual, education, economic, you're looking at it. But it wasn't always like that. I grew up in a beautiful household. And I went against my upbringing because my mother and father didn't raise me to hustle. Not illegally anyway. But she told me don't leave the steps. I had to leave the steps. And once I left the steps, I was cast out to society. And for those that really been in society, not sheltered, that's an ugly place to be. When you don't have structure and discipline and something to come back and hold on to and some guidance. Now, to tell you my story, the elevator speech. I served 22 years in a penitentiary. I've been home 8 years. I was around billionaires, millionaires, 100,000aires, and broke-aires. I'm telling you, I was around judges, lawyers, doctors, senators, you name it, because it was a society inside of a society. And I was around military. A lot of people don't understand this when it comes to reentry. 30% of the penitentiary are military. Military. And a couple of them was my cellmate, so I really know firsthand. And we went through the same thing because y'all saw things in the military over at war that the human beings shouldn't have seen. Same thing with us. We need to see a psychiatrist too. Not that we're crazy, but to keep our thoughts straight. See, when you come home from being incarcerated and you was in a controlled environment, you had no responsibility while you was in there because everything was given to you. When you first get incarcerated, that's the first place I ever went, and I ain't had to fill out an application for a job. They already had one for me. I ain't have to get medicated, it was already there. I didn't need no clothes, they had that for me. I didn't need a roof over my head, they made sure I had that. So where's your responsibility at? I didn't have none, because if I had it, I wouldn't have went to jail in the first place. There was no structure. So when I got in there, what'd they do? Here's a job, behave, calm down, relax, do your time, keep your nose clean, and go home. Then, when they release you, because you didn't learn anything while you was in there, you was put on pause, and say, now get out and be productive in society. When you never even learned how to be productive at all. That's why the recidivism rate is so high. That's why the return back to prison is so high, because while you're incarcerated, there's no structure. You have to fight, mentally, spiritually, and sometimes physically, to maintain so you can come home and be productive in society. That's why the average person don't come home like this, because the majority of them is taken care of in there. And they're comfortable with it. Because when they go to jail, they abandon their whole family and everything that's structured. They abandon child support. They're not being a good husband, a good wife, but they ain't there to provide. So they being taken care of on your tax dollars. Then when they release, there's two U's when you're released. There's the incarcerated you, and then there's the society you. And because you was taken care of so much, when a society problem happened, you deal with it with an incarcerated mind frame. That's why you go back to jail. That's why, in case y'all was wondering why the recidivism rate is so high, I'm giving you straight structure. It's not in there. You have to rehabilitate yourself. When I came home, when I went in, I didn't even have a GED when I went in. And I was very intelligent. I was just lazy, and I went to the streets, and I just wanted to hustle. But when I came home, I had a degree in psychology. I got a job being a therapist. I was the manager, literally. Now listen to this. I was the manager at the convention center in Philadelphia. The manager. I was the manager at the Kimmel Center in Philadelphia. I was the manager at Penn's Landing in Philadelphia simultaneously. Returning citizen. Formerly incarcerated, whatever name you want to give it. You know how I got that job? I went to an interview, and they was ready to shut me down. But something I learned. They said, well, I see you was incarcerated. Yes, this is how I stole the interview. But however, once you say however, that's a transition.
All right.
I said, however, this is what I can bring to the table. This is what I can do for your company. This is how I can get stuff done. And they hired me. And because of that job, I hired 250 returning citizens. But I don't like working for people. Because sometimes, right, even when the boss is wrong, it don't matter. He or she is still the boss. I learned that the hard way. So I started my own company, Gateway to Reentry, my own corporation. And I started from scratch. And every dime I ever made went right back into the company. Every dime I ever made, non-profit, branding, everything you name, I just put it back into the company. Why? Because I was willing to struggle for a while. A lot of men and women come home and they're afraid of struggling. You was born struggling. What is you talking about? It's your mentality. If you can't change this, you're not going to change nothing anyway. You're going to stay the same. Why? Because your mentality takes you places or keeps you out of places. And I had to learn that. And because I have a strong mentality, right, I was able to create a returning citizen union. We have our own union. called Gateway 2135 People Street. There we on construction sites. Absolutely. I created June as Reentry Month. June is Reentry Month. Pennsylvania, 67 counties. New Jersey, Chester, Delaware. Chester's part of Pennsylvania. Delaware now is recognized as one of the cities. Virginia, California, New York, South Carolina, Atlanta, and there's one more missing. Detroit. Recognized because I decided to go down City Hall and get a councilman to do a resolution. September is recognized as Inmate Awareness Month. But not only that, I created 10 steps to reentry. Literally, it's a GPS system on how to stay home. I'm living proof it works. 10 steps on how to stay home. It's the only program in the world that has it. That type of structure. Literally. I had to get back into my children's life. I had 4 children when I went to jail. Thank God I had them when I was young. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have any. I have 12 grandkids now. And I'm telling you, I'm Pop of the Year.
All right.
Pop of the Year. You get around my grandkids, yes sir, yes ma'am, no sir, no ma'am. Respect is there. Why? Because I was raised old school. I just went against the grain and it taught me something. Everybody got a stove story. When you was a kid, you touched the stove, but you don't have 20 of them stove stories, do you? All it takes is one time to touch that stove, and you pull your hand back. Even a mentally disturbed person would touch it one time, you tell them to do it again, they say, no, hot. Some things in life is the stove. We got to understand what the stove is. See, because we don't feel the pain right away, we don't recognize it as a stove. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So when I tell y'all reentry is successful, you're looking at a successful reentry person, but I still had my struggles. You know what my struggles is now? My struggles is to convince people that truly believe that we don't deserve a second chance in society that's in a position to give you a second chance. That's a problem. That's a problem. We have individuals, I'm from Philadelphia. We have a few politicians you might know or don't know that just got incarcerated or was incarcerated, right? But before they got incarcerated, one of the senators and one of the district attorneys, I used to be in the office, trying to get them to actually put in programs, alternative programs, to stop putting cases on young men and women so they can get jobs and stuff. And allow them to take the program. Once they complete the program, their record is expunged, they don't even have a record, and they can go on with their life. They turned me down, or they lied to me. Oh, don't worry about it, we'll get back to you. On the streets, we call that expending. Expending. Well, guess who's about to be in my program? True story. The senator, because he went to jail for fraud. He just got out, and the district attorney. How about that? I'm about to see them Monday. They about to come to my program. Isn't that something? But I don't hold that against them. I really don't. But it feels good to say it. Because now they wanted me. They wanted us. Oh, you're a returning citizen. You're part of my team now. You're on my team now. Now you're going to understand half the table is taken away from you when you have a record. When you're born in this world and you don't have a record, you can go ahead and accomplish whatever you want to accomplish because there's nothing that really holds you back. But when you have a record, the way the world is structured and the way the law is, half the table is taken away from you. So now you got to play with, it's like playing in the NBA and you only can play half court. How you want to do that? You got to play defense somewhere. How you want to do that? You can't even come across half court line. And that's what's happening.